Hey, Brendan here from the Interview Hacker. Now, tell me about yourself. Go on, tell me about yourself. Now, this could be one of the first questions that you get asked at your interview, and it's a tough one unless you have rehearsed and prepared. By the way, we rehearse so that we can sound prepared on the day. The hard work is in the rehearsals, folks. So on the day of your performance, for this conversation with a purpose, this interview, you can come across as being absolutely prepared. Now, this answer to this question is going to set the scene for the rest of this conversation, for the rest of this interview. The person who you're speaking to could well be your future boss. Certainly, as an employee of the organization that you're going to work for, they're going to be making decisions about you right from the offset as to whether you're the sort of person that they can work with. So it's really important that we get this right. But how are we going to structure this answer? They don't want to hear about what school you went to. They're not interested in your favourite pizza. They're not interested in where you went on holiday last year, unless it's connected with the role, but it probably won't be. So what I'm going to suggest to you is that we tell a story. People have always liked stories. Ever since we did not have radio and we didn't have TV and we didn't have the internet, people would tell each other stories. People would sit around a table or sit around a campfire and tell stories. And as a child, we were told stories. And who doesn't love a good story today? So you're going to tell a short story about yourself and how it links in with what they're looking for. Because remember, the interview is just your opportunity to solve a problem for them, because their problem is that they've got a vacancy and you're the solution to it. So let's think about your story and the chapters within it. And the first thing we're going to do, and I recommend that you do this in your journal, is create a timeline. So on this timeline, we've got this point here. Which is the interview. That's where you are now. So yesterday, the day before the interview, you were working as or it may be that you're unemployed at the moment, but you have been working at, or it may be that you've just graduated from college, or you're getting ready to graduate from college or university. Wherever you are at this moment in time, it needs to be some kind of positive statement about where you are. So at this moment in time, this is where I'd start. So at this moment in time, I'm a positive statement about yourself. But we need to now go backwards in time. Because at some point, you were inspired to look for something else. The next chapter of your story, if we're thinking about this whole story metaphor, when you start work with this organization that you're going to the interview for, you're going to be starting the next chapter in your life. And what they're looking for is someone who can certainly spend a significant amount of time investing their energy and their values and their skills and expertise in that organization. So they want to hear a little bit about where you are now and where you've been, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the future pacing in a moment. So at some point in your past, you decided that you wanted the next move. And so I would describe this point here. So it's either something that happened, so it might be something in your life that's happened, or it might be someone that's happened, in that you came across someone. You might have been sat on a plane next to them, or sat next to them on the train, and they were talking about how they work in a particular sector, and you thought, wow, that sounds interesting. Or it might be a friend of yours who you've come across, you've not seen them for years, and they talked about how they were now the thing that you're going to apply to be. And this particularly inspired you. It got you thinking about your position in life at this moment in time. So we want to talk positively about our current role or where we've been, whether it be college, university or work. We want to talk positively about it. Don't start talking about all of the bad things. You know, every organization, every role has got something in it that people don't like. Don't start focusing on that, because that describes how you want to move away from pain as opposed to moving towards pleasure. They'd much rather hear a story about how you want to move towards something that's going to make you a better version of yourself than I want to move away from this because I don't like it because of this, and this. If they hear that, it's going to come across as very negative, isn't it? Just try it. You know, try it with a friend of yours or a loved one. Talk to them for 5 minutes about all the things you don't like in the world. You won't last 5 minutes. They'll have walked away by then. Then try talking to them about all the things that you'd like to achieve, all the positive things that you'd like to achieve, and just see how your energy changes and how receptive they are to listening to it. So something or someone happened that set a seed that made you start thinking, this is a sector, this is an organisation I'd like to work for. And now what we're going to describe is a couple of chapters that have happened from that point to the point where you're at an interview. So I would perhaps describe some of the things that you've been involved with in the workplace that you're particularly proud of, that you think you might be able to bring to this organisation that you're going to work for. Maybe talk about some of the values that you hold very dear, similar values to the organisation that you work for. Don't just make bold claims. Talk about how you actually developed those values or how you discovered that you had those values. Maybe tell them something about what you do in your spare time. So in my downtime, what I like to do is I rest and relax by doing. So there's no prescribed sort of this is the way it must be. This is just you talking about how you're going to be of interest to them because you've got a compelling story to tell. Making sense so far? So these are just little chapters of your story. I'm not going to tell you that this is exactly what you've got to say because your life is unique and you need to come across as someone who's a unique person, someone who's authentically unique, because they're going to work it out, you know. If you just come out with the same old canned stuff, same old pre-prepared answers that you might have seen on some YouTube video, they will work it out. Trust me, they will. They didn't get to the position where they're doing the recruiting and interviewing by collecting tokens from Cocoa Pops packets, did they? So here's our little story that we're going to tell. And now we're at the point of the interview, and you could say, is there anything else you'd like to know? Or that, in short, is the story of how I got to be here today, sat here in front of you. You know, some nice little catchy ending so that you've got a hook. This is where I am at the moment, but it's not always been this case. Here's the seed that's set for the story that you're going to tell about why you are sat in front of them now. Now, you could do something called future pacing as well. Where I see my life going. So tell me a little bit about yourself. It isn't just about the present and the past. It's also about the future. What I'm particularly excited about. So if you're not excited about this role that you're going for, then why are you going for it? You've expended a lot of energy on preparing for something that's not going to enable you to feel as though you've been successful and fulfilled in your life. And after all, 1/3 of your life is spent at work or thinking about work. So we need to make sure that what we're going for is something that's going to enable us to feel successful and fulfilled in what we do. Now, you might be thinking it's just a stepping stone. Well, I wouldn't share with them that within 2 years I intend to leave, because you don't know what's going to happen, do you? It may be that you've got every intention of leaving after 2 years now, but in a couple of years' time, you might have changed your mind because it's such an amazing place to be. Future pace a little bit. Just tell them what excites you about the role and what you're looking forward to should you be successful in this role, in this interview. So there you go, folks. That's my suggestion as to how to approach the tell me about yourself. It's going to need a little bit of work because this is your extended elevator pitch. It's a big elevator. I'd suggest about 2.5, 3 minutes long, 3.5 minutes long. You don't want to bore them, but then again, you don't want to give them such little detail that they actually think, right, so I still actually don't know anything about you. So what goes in those chapters, remember, is up to you. You know, it's your story, it's your life, it's your unique version of you. So tell that story. All right, folks, I hope you've found this interesting. This has worked, by the way, for thousands of people so far. So if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about interview hacking, because this is what we're doing here, we're hacking the interview process, click on the link below, because there's an opportunity to join a very special community of people in very similar situation to you for just £4.99 a month. That's like the price of a coffee and a snack. If you're watching this from another part of the world, that's in UK pounds. If it was in the United States, it'd be about $6. So that's a monthly subscription, and there's no minimum time commitment. I don't believe in that, because if you join this group, you watch all my introductory videos and you join the group and you don't find it offers you value, then you've got every right to leave. But I don't think you will, because I'm going to do what I do now and what I've been doing over the past decade or so, which is completely over delivering on behalf of those people I serve. So I look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group. That's where all the energy happens. That's where all the good stuff happens. And keep interview hacking. Keep rehearsing so that you can come across as being well prepared. That's what we need to do. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.